Hello and welcome back to another final table commentary. If at any point in time you find yourself not caring for the commentary, there'll be a link in the description down below to the video and BCP Poker Replay's YouTube account, so if you choose to do so, you can go check out the action in some silence. With that being said, let's hop on into it. We got another 10k high roller from WCOOP 2023, another stacked final table. We got Lena, the Crow, Selawan, Jesper, BCB, Graf Keckle, Ponikov, Romeo Pro, and Flairhoove. The Crow's going to start things off with a raise with an ace and an 8 of the same suit. Selawan will 3-bet King Jack suited. Another ace 8 hits the muck. Romeo Pro in the big blind with an ace and a 4 off will go for the cold 4. Me and 11.5 blinds to go, 6 more to call. And Selawan will let go of the King Jack suited. Very nice little steal there by Romeo Pro. Interesting little start to the final table. So it's a 10k, we got 200k for the win. All the other numbers along the bottom there, they don't matter. Everybody here is just playing for first place. We all want the title. Boppity boo. Graf Keckle gets a raise on through. Then Selawan's got a couple of 9s. They'll go for the 2.5x raise. Ponikov with a couple of 8s. Off 17.5 blinds. I wonder if they just fold. They do. Nice little fold there by Ponikov. Laying it in the big with a queen and a 10. Says the big raise is gonna get a little bit of respect in the queen 10. A very playable holding, just hits the muck. Ace king for Jesper off 7 big blind stack. Will rip it all in, and it looks like they're gonna get it on through. Pick up the blinds and antes. They're up to 9.5 blinds. Ace 10 for Ponikov off 17.5 once again. We might just fold. We'll see what Ponikov thinks. They could go for some sort of min open, but no, they do just land on the fold option. Romeo Pro with an 8 and a 6 of the same suit. 1 seat to Ponikov's left. We'll raise it on up. From what the hijack? Ace Queen for the Crow calls the small blind. Ace King 5 flop goes check. Bet Romeo. There it is. Boppity boo, 1.5 blinds into 6.2. Top pair with a fair kicker for the Crow. They'll come along to the 7 on the turn. Romeo's open-ended. Looking for a 4 or a 9. Or a big bet to get through. I don't think it gets through on the turn here. Crow with the very powerful ace queen. Top pair. Best kicker. Other than a king, of course, which would give you 2 pairs. Anyways, 3 on the river goes check, and Romeo does fire a 3rd barrel. Boppity boo, 13 blinds into 27. The ace queen with the queen of hearts finds the fold on the river. Another nice play by Romeo. This time it's the Crow getting into some trouble there. Had the flush blocker, had the top pair. Just felt like Romeo could easily have some sort of 2 pairs. Still go for that little milky value bet on the river. As Lena goes for the min 3 bet here, 3.5 blinds. As Graf Keckle opens up to 2 blinds, and the 3 bet will get through. Then ace king for Graf Keckle. They'll rip it all in essentially with the 6 big blind raise. And that gets through for them. Ooh, then a couple of aces. Jesper with an ace and a 10. We could see them rip from the button. They're in some trouble here. They might be out of the tournament. Nothing doing for BCB in the small blind. A 4 and a 3. We'll see the ace 10 rip. Graf Keckle will call. Boppity boo. Any 9s? A 9? There's a 9 on the river. Oh no. I was kind of just joking, but Jesper hits runner straight cards. 6, then a 9. Jesper makes this straight. Graf Keckle's aces get busted. Selawan's got an ace and a jack. BCB calls 4-3 suited. Says, you know what, this is good enough for me. 9-7-2 flop goes check. Check. King on the turn. Turn goes check. I'd like to see Ben stab at some point. We'll see when they do elect to go for the bluff. 6 on the river. Don't think ace jack bets here. Another check from Selawan. Do we bluff with our ace jack? Selawan says, yeah, we're going to go for the bluff here. make it full pot size bet, and the bet will get through. King Jack suited for Flair Hoove will open it on up and get it on through pre. So basically Romeo's been teaching everybody a thing or two to get things started off. Benzie B starting to open things up now with the ace and the 4. Had the suited 4-3. Wanted to see some cards. Wanted to see the flop. Ace Jack will go for the 3-bet for Ponnikov. And the 3-bet will get through. So Ben just not quite getting the opportunity to play post flop just quite yet. 8-8 for the Crow. Another small 3-bet from Celowan. This time they've got aces. King 7 for Ponnikov. It's suited, but they will fold off the 20 big blind stack. Hopefully the Crow just calls or folds. Here we go. Very nicely done. 10-7-6 flop. So the Crow's got the straight draw to the 9. 3 of a kind draw to the 8. I don't think they're going to turn their 8s into a bluff at any point. Celowan going to go for some value at some point. They say we'll look for some on the turn. 5 of spades. 13.5 blinds in the middle. Celowan, I suppose, doesn't want to get check raised on the flop. Says, I'll just meet you on the turn. Gives his opponent a free card. 8s will bet real small. A call from Celowan. Queen on the river. Crow will check. I think Celowan bets, but there's already 23 blinds in the middle. We got 31 behind. This is a big ass pot. We don't mind checking and winning, I think. But with that being said, we want to see some value bets. Yeah, there it is. 11.5 blinds. Right around half pot, and I don't know what to do with 8-8, but the Crow says we'll just let this one go even though we block the straight. So nice little blockish bet on the turn there by the Crow. Just puts in about 4 blinds. Says we'll check on the river and hopefully beat some ace king and whatnot. If you bet, then maybe you just have it. And the Crow had a very good read on this situation. Ace 4 for Ben will raise it on up from early position under the gun +1. Celowan in the big with a king and a 10 will play call. We could always 3-bet, but they land on the fold. Whoa, wee wah. Of all the options, I wasn't expecting that. Ace 4 for Graf Kegel will rip it all in. They're 2.6 blinds. Jesper in the big blind with a couple of kings will get this one in. Any aces dealer. No ace for Graf Kegel. That's a damn shame. Jesper getting lucky with the ace 10 versus aces, and this time they wake up with kings in the big blind. Nice start to the final table for Jesper, who came in as a shorty. Lena with, what was that, Queen Jack again? They go for the open and take it down. I sure hope it was Queen Jack, because that's what my eyeballs saw. But things were moving a bit too quick for me to keep up. Anyways, 8-9 for Romeo Pro will raise under the gun. It's suited, unbooted. 6 queen for Ponnikov in the big will call. Ace, ace, 8 flop goes check. Min bet for 1 big blind and the bet gets through. 5-3 for Ben will raise it on up and take it down. Bree. Nope, Romeo has a 9 and a 5 and 60 blinds. Just kidding. Aces for Romeo. Ponnikov with 16 blinds and an 8 and a 6 on the button will let this one go. Aces will do some sort of something, and then Flair Hoove is likely to fold the 9-3. Did we ever limp in aces here? Romeo says nope. We go for the big raise and take it down. Ace 8 for Flair Hoove will probably get the opportunity to do something from the small blind. 8-2 for Romeo on the button. They will be in position. They like to play some hands. They could always go for the open here. They do find it. Flair Hoove with that ace and the 8. I don't know what to do here. Folding feels weak, but at the same time, do you really want to go post flop out of position? Flair Hoove says no, I don't. 8-7 for Lena will call the big. 9-9-6 flop goes check. Min bet. Lena's open-ended here. Has the best of it with 8-7. If we're to show this one down, we're likely to chop it up. Lena says we'll go for the check raise on the flop, and Romeo Pro surely folds. 8-2 with the backdoor diamond draw. And there's the fold. Ace and a queen for Ponnikov. 8-4 for Jesper gives it a little think over, but they find a fold. The crow in the big with an ace and a 10. We'll see if they play call. Ace 10 offsuit is also sometimes a 3-betting or 4-betting hand. In this instance, it would be a 3-bet most likely, unless Romeo comes in with the 3-bet with the Jack 6 suited, but we will fold. They will fold. There we go. And then the crow says, do I want a 3-bet or just play post flop? And post flop sounds a lot more appealing. King 7-2 flop goes check. Ponnikov goes for the min bet, stealing Romeo Pro's strategy. Ace 10 will call, queen on the turn. Second pair for Ponnikov. Checks back the turn. 3 on the river goes check. I wonder if Ponnikov goes for a little value or just shows down the ace queen. Could try to get called by some sort of queen jack, queen 10, queen 9. Ponnikov does find a little value bet, but the crow's got ace 10, so they'll likely just let this go. King queen for Jesper under the gun. We'll see if they open it up or just fold. They do go for the min open. King 9 suited for Ben. They could 3-bet or fold. They land on the fold option. King queen for the crow in the small blind off 27 blinds. They aren't too happy to see Jesper opening it on up, so they could just fold, and they do. 8-6 suited for Ponnikov off 20 bigs. Probably he's going to fold. Ace king for Romeo. King jack suited for Flair Hoove. We'll see a raise, potentially a 3-bet. Flair Hoove has been rather quiet. Their 3-bet should get respect. They do make it 6 blinds to go. Romeo wakes up with the ace king, can 4-bet or call. No folding here. Deep in the tank, Romeo's going to stick in the 4-bet. What size would you go? We're playing 50 blinds deep. Romeo says make it 13.5. Another lesson by Romeo there just says make it a little bit more than 2x for their raise. Don't have to go a full 2.5x. I would imagine they went for a little bit smaller of a 4-bet because stacks weren't 100 blinds deep, they're only 50. So Romeo says we don't have to make our 4-bet as big. Anyways, they open up ace 10 the next hand. King king for Leno will go for the small 3-bet, and Romeo will fold ace 10. Queen jack for the crow. Might just fold. Nope. The crow does open it up. Celowan with an ace and a 10 of the same suit. Will 3-bet small, 5.5 blinds, and the 3-bet will get through pre. Ace deuce for the crow. We'll fold this time. Ben CB with an ace and a queen will raise it on up. Romeo in the big with a 7 and a 4 of the same suit. We could come to the flop. They do call. Ace queen 4 flop goes check. Small bet. Romeo with the backdoor flush draw. Backdoor 2-pair draw. Backdoor 3 of a kind draw. They'll call on the flop. King on the turn goes check. I think Ben bets again, and the bet will get through as it's the 6 big blind bet into 9. Surely Romeo just folds, right? There we go. Thinks about it for a second, but does land on the fold. A couple of ducks for Romeo. Ponnikov with an 8 and a 4, the same suit on the button, will fold. 6-4 waiting for Flair Hoove in the big blind. King Queen 7 flop. Nothing doing for Romeo, nothing really doing for Flair Hoove. We see the 10 on the turn. You'd expect Romeo to try to buy the pot at some point, but they do have a pair, so they might just show it down. Just seems like Romeo is the type to bet. But they'll give Flare Hoof the opportunity on the river, and they're going to go for the overbet. And wouldn't this work? Romeo's going to think about it anyways. Would have been a very nice call, but they are going to land on the fold option. Ace-6 for the crow under the gun off the 20 big blind stack. We'll just fold. It looks like blinds went up. Queen-deuce for Romeo is going to raise the button. King-jack for Elena in the big plays call. 9-7-3 flop goes check. Romeo doesn't have much going on here, but again, they're the type to bet. They're going in the tank here. Bets 1.5 blinds. And Lena will fold the best of it with king-jack. Ooh, a couple of queens for Lena. Not much doing for the rest of the table though. Ponikov with 10-8 suited. They are going to go for the open. Interesting to see what Lena does off 20 big blinds. They just rip it all in and they'll take it down pre. Queen 10 suited for Jesper. Queen 10 suited for the crow. 8-10 suited for Lena. Jack 9 for Romeo Pro. We got some playable hands. Romeo will fold facing the under the gun raise. I think Lena also folds the crow as well. Jack 9 in the big for Celowan might come along to the flop, but nope. 8-9 suited for Ben will raise under the gun. This raise is a little less scary. Jesper in the big with a queen and a 3 of the same suit. We'll just fold. Ace-7 suited for Romeo. Queen again for Lena. We'll see a raise, a 3-bet. And a bunch of folds, I suppose. Romeo could always come back with the 4-bet. Oh, we're going for the limp. Okay. Wasn't expecting this change of pace. Lena will raise to 3 blinds. 3.5. Ben getting a fair price with the 5-5. But I think we fold. It's a fair price though. And then Romeo also getting a fair price. It's like, what do we do here? I don't really know. We're going to learn. Ben does find the call. Romeo will call now. I don't think we 3-bet A7 suited getting such a fair price. Romeo just folds. Okie dokie. Jack 3 flop goes check. I don't know. Someone let me know why Romeo didn't call there. He's getting a great price. 2.5 into about like 13 blinds. Anyways, we'll move along. Jack on the turn. 16 bigs in the middle. Lena has 17.5 behind. We'll probably go for another small bet here. 4.89. And Ben CB says, what do I do here? The spade draw misses. There's still like ace, king, ace, queen. Then there's the bluffs. Ben's going to stick in a raise on the turn here to 11 bigs. Lena quickly rips it all in. Ben has 6.5 more to call into what would be about a 50 big blind potish or something like that. 50-ish big blind pot. There we go. That's the sentence I was trying to construct. Whatever. Celowan with a couple of kings will raise it on up. So Lena's got 44 bigs. That's pretty scary for the whole table. Ben's still in first place with 57. But now Lena gets to play the queen jack, I think. They say no. Romeo in the big will certainly defend wide. King 8 for Ben will open up the button. So Lena says, I have the opportunity to open up the queen jack from under the gun +1. They pass on the spot. They get a couple of kings this time. But I'm just wondering about, like, what does that tell us about what Lena thinks of their position? So we still have Celowan with 47 blinds, Romeo with 50, who was in the big blind. Then there's Ben CB with 60 bigs. We've seen Lena, not in the past, not on this final table, but in the past I've seen Lena and Ben CB play some crazy pre-flop betting stuff. They got weird dynamics going on between the two of them. But then Romeo likes to see a lot of flops, so Lena says Queen Jack will just let this one go pre. Wait, what happened there? King 8. Okay, sorry, my bad. Romeo with a king and a 2 in position bets and takes the pot down. Makes sense. King Queen for Ben. Queen for Crow. Doopity-doo. Ace and a king for Romeo. We'll see a raise, a 3-bet, an all-in from the Crow. Ben will fold. Romeo will call. Then it's going to be a big flip. except it won't quite be a flip. I wonder what the percentages actually are. Anyways, we get an ace on the flop, as bcp folded a king and a queen. So it's interesting to note. Anyways, we move along. Romeo knocks out the crow. There's no bounty on the head, but everybody's quite ecstatic as we all get a ladder. Ace 10 for Solowan. Jesper with a king and a jack will call. 44% needs a king or a jack or a diamond. Not going to find it this time. Solowan wins the 30 big blind pot, and they're in second place, sorry. Second place with 62 bigs. So now we've got Ponnikov off the 9 big blind stack with an ace and a 7 in the small. Jack 10 for Flair Hoof will open it under the gun. bcp with a king and a queen will 3-bet. Ace queen for Romeo Pro. Ooh, so 3-bet comes in. Romeo Pro thinking things through with ace queen. They're going to go for the cold 4. Flair Hoof quickly folds the playable Jack 10 suited. Just with this action, it's not so playable. Then bcp's going deep in the tank here. He's thinking something mischievous. He goes for the 5-bet and throws the throwable, the big L to Romeo. Well, and then he says, "Go all in, I dare you." See, this is what I was talking about. The pre-flop dynamics, they're hilarious. Ace queen for Romeo will find the fold. bcp steals one there. 8 and an 8 for Flair Hoof. Ponnikov with an ace and a king. We'll see this get in pre. Ponnikov will jam. Romeo will fold 7-3. Flair Hoof will call with about 54% or something like that. 55, my bad. King on the flop. That's all good news for Ponnikov. No 8 for Flair Hoof. So this is pretty interesting. Ponnikov back in the game with 18 blinds. Flair Hoof still in the game with 23.5. And then we got 4 players that are playing pretty deep with one another. Lena, Solowan, Romeo Pro, and bcp in first place. King 9 flop goes check. Bet. 1 blind from Romeo Pro. Lena in the big with the pair of 4s. We'll find the call. King on the turn. So Romeo has the flush draw that does not matter anymore. They need a 10 or a 9. And the 9 would just chop the pot. A big bet might get the job done here, as 4-4 is not an easy call, so Lena will let it go. And Romeo Pro steals a pot there. 5-3 for Ponnikov is thinking things through. Nope, their eyes are just away from the screen. 6s for Lena. Solowan with a couple of aces. We see a limp raise, call. We're off to a flop. I don't think Lena 3-bets pre. They do just call. We both flop a flush draw. Interesting board. Jack 3-2. All diamonds. Solowan will check back the flop. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Both players with a flush. Solowan will put in a bet here now. What size do we go? What? Why isn't Solowan betting? Lena bets 5 bigs. Solowan with the nuts on the river here. They'll go for the raise, certainly. We never call. We never fold. We raise. What size do we go? 15, 16, 17? 17.5. Solowan says just a little bit more. Lena with a little flush. Hopefully finds the fold. Otherwise, a big pot's going Solowan's way. They did play it very sneakily. They could have put in a bet on the turn. Maybe Lena calls a small bet. But then on the river, maybe Lena folds. So maybe Solowan got max value by checking back flop and turn. bcp throws another throwable, this time to Solowan. 10-4-2 flop goes check, bet, call. We're off to the turn. Ben looking for a 3, a 5, or a 6. Or for a big bet to get through, and I don't think it will on the 10 turn. The question is what happens on the river. Queen of Hearts. Ben still will fire away with the 6 high, surely. Make it 8 bigs, and then Solowan's in a pickle. They're going to go deep in the tank here, no surprises there. And they land on the fold, which is the wrong option this time. Nice little steal there by bcp. Ace 5 for Lena, King for Ponnikov. Oh, and Ponnikov's getting a walk. 7-3 for Ben, could always raise, but might just let this go. Unfortunate news for Ponnikov. Waking up with kings, Lena with an ace. There's no action at all. Ben CB in the small blind doesn't even put any pressure on you. Ace king for Lena. Shouldn't get any action either. Just raise and take it down pre. Ace king for Celowan. We'll raise it on up. Dippity-doo and take it down pre. Jack 10 for Ponnikov. We'll raise. Lena in the big with a 3 and a 10 will call. Jack 9, 6 flop goes check. Potentially check. Ponnikov says no, I'm going to go for a bet with my top pair and my weak kicker with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Doopity-doo-doo-doo-doo. 6-6 for Flair Hoove off the 20 big blind stack in last place. Nope, not quite in last place. We'll raise, face the 3-bet from Lena and quickly jam and take the pot down pre-flop. That's a nice pot for Flair Hoove. Now Lena's in second last, Ponnikov in last with about 21 blinds. Flair Hoove just slightly ahead of both of them with 28. Now we got 3 players battling it out for the top 3 positions. Ben CB with 7-3 suited in the small will fold facing Romeo's open under the gun. Ponnikov with an ace and a 4 could 3-bet. They do land on the 3-bet all-in option. Romeo has about 44%. But we'll find the fold, of course, with Queen Jack suited. 8-8 for Romeo will raise. Nope, that's Ben CB. 8-8 for Ben CB will raise Romeo in the big with a queen and a 6. They're going to call. Jack 10 2 flop goes check. Check 2 on the turn. Doopity-doo. Romeo checks. Ben CB checks 4 on the river. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Don't think Romeo bluffs, but he is going to go for the 8 big blind bet over bet. And then Ben CB finds the call with the pair of 8s. Nicely done by Ben. Nice attempt there by Romeo. Just didn't work out this time as he takes the 10 jack suited, rips it all in. Ponnikov with the king high will let it go. 8-9 for Ponnikov. 10-9 suited for Flair Hoove. Ponnikov suited. Romeo 3 bets queen 10 off, and this is going to get through pre. 2 big blind raised. Romeo says make it 4.5. And Ben raises ace 3. Romeo with a couple of 9s. Lena with a king and a queen. Romeo calls. Lena could jam here. And it might buy the pot pre-flop. Lena lands on the fold. 9-10. Oh no, it's on a 9. A jack 10-7 flop. Holy shit. My eyes and lips are breaking. Your witnesses. 7 on the turn goes check. Is Romeo gonna bet? He says no, let's just go to the river and make a straight. Diamonds do complete. 6 blinds in the middle. Ben will bet 2. Romeo will call. Do we ever raise? The board's paired, and again the flush gets there on the river. Romeo will just call and take the pot. Ace 4 suited for Romeo. His blinds go up. Hanging out with about 60 bigs. Celowan with 54. Ben with 70. Then we got 3 players hanging out at about 20 blinds. So it's very interesting as we got Romeo with the big stack. We got Ben CB with the big stack. They're not afraid to throw in the light 4 bets. So if I'm Ponnikov, Flair Hoove, or Lena, I might just wait and be super patient right now. With that being said, Celowan says, I've still got plenty of chips to throw around. King 6 suited will go for the open from the cutoff. So Celowan's not tightening up at all. They're going to try to fight for first place still, as they're just only about 10 blinds behind Ben. Pretty well tied up with Romeo. So Celowan, that's just as likely going to be their game as it is Romeo's or Ben's. Queen 9 for Lena will go for the raise under the gun. Another jack 10 of diamonds for Romeo will 3-bet all in and take it down pre. Ace 10 for Lena. 9-9 for Flair Hoove. Blind on blind. I think this gets in pre. No, it won't. Ponnikov raises Queen Jack that I missed out on. King 7 for Romeo will 3-bet to 3.5 blinds. Does Flair Hoove jam still? They do. Lena will quickly fold ace 10. And then Romeo and Ponnikov fold. So Flare Hoove at 28 bigs now. That was a big pot going their way. Ace 9 for Lena will rip and take it down pre. Ace and a 3 for Lena with 17 and a half blinds. We'll raise. Queen 4 for Ben in the big. We'll just fold. Lena gets one through. 5-4 suited for Romeo. 5-5 for Ponakov. 7-6 for Flare Hoove also hits the muck as Romeo folds under the gun. Lena from the cutoff will raise Jack 10. 5-5 for Ponakov can rip it all in. Do they just call? Weird spot. Do we fold pre-flop? Ponakov says, no, we're going to the flop in some manner. Ace 7-4. Lena bets real small. I'd like to see Ponakov call just because we know they have the best holding right now, but it just seems like an impossible call as we're not happy about any turn or river unless it's 5 or unless it goes 3-2. Ponakov will raise the flop. Whoa wee wee whoa with the 5 and the 5. Somebody let me know what's going on there. Is he raising like Benty B did earlier? What did he raise with? It was the 5-5 on the Jack 3-3 board. Lane ahead, I think queens. Benty B raised the turn. Super small. Very interesting stuff. Ponakov does the exact same move with the 5-5 in a similar situation. Just on the ace-high board, you wouldn't necessarily expect the 5-5 to go for the 2-bet on the flop. Anyways, ace 4 for Ponakov will rip it all in and take it down pre. They're back in the game with about 20 blinds. Leno with 20, almost 21, with 1 in the middle. Benty B, 67 blinds. Doopity-doo. Queen 10 for Flare Hoove on the button. We'll open it on up. Good to see them still getting after it. Queen 5 for Selawan in the big. We'll just fold. Ponakov with an ace and a king. Flare Hoove with an ace and a queen. Looks like Ponakov is destined to get a double up providing there's no queen coming. I don't know if this gets in pre-flop or not. We'll see. Oh, it will. Flare Hoove 3 bets. Ponakov will 4 bet all in. And I think Flare Hoove calls. Very likely to be the action we're going to see. There's the jam. Flare Hoove does call. Queen on the flop. Any kings or 4? Nope. We get the 9 of hearts on the river, so we lose Ponakov. Very unfortunate. Flare Hoove gets lucky for the 50 big blinds. I suppose the pot wasn't quite that big, but it was like 40 bigs, you know. Flare Hoove's up to 50 blinds now. That's what's most important. Jack 10-9 flop goes check, check, 9 on the river. That completes the flush. We will chop this up providing it goes check, check. I don't think anybody's going to bet as a bluff or for value. Well, there's Romeo betting for value, 1.5 blinds. Selawan quickly calls and they chop it up. 10-10 for Selawan. Ace and a 5 for Ben will fold. Queen 10 for Flare Hoove in the big. 5. No, King 5-4 flop goes check. Bet. Call. Backdoor straight draw. Backdoor flush draw for Flare Hoove. Goes for the re-raise on the flop. Selawan calls. 6 on the turn. So it looks like Selawan's gonna hang on in there. Flare Hoove gives up the bluff. And we get a queen on the river. How fortunate for Flare Hoove. Poker Star is quite dirty. Flare Hoove bets 1.2 blinds. Selawan calls for the 10s and sees the bad news. 7-8 for Romeo Pro will raise. King 5 for Lena. Dippity-doo-doo-doo-doo. Pair of 7s for Romeo will find the bet on the flop. Took a while, but they bet a big blind and take the pot down. Jack 10 suited for Romeo. Will raise. Selawan in the big with 9-7. Oh boy, but Flare Hoove 3 bets King 5 suited. Romeo could 4 bet. They can also call. They could fold, I suppose, as well, but I mean, what are the two options that are most likely is the 4 bet and the call. Queen 4-2 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Romeo has 3 in a row, but no backdoor flush draw. They're going to let it go. Queen 4 for Lena will fold, and Ben gets a walk with the ace high. Ace 9 for Romeo Pro in the big blind. Might get a walk here, not too much going on for the other players. Jack 2 for Ben in the small is going to limp it on in, okay. Romeo can check, raise. They got options. Got a very playable ace 9. Could keep ranges super wide just by checking, or they can go for the raise. Look to narrow down what Ben's got. And they elect to do the raise. And they get it on through. Ace Queen for Lena will raise it on up. 9-7 for Romeo will just fold from the small blind. King Queen for Celowan will raise and take it down pre. So it looks like only one player's getting dealt a hand per hand. 10-7 suited this time for Flair Hoove will raise and take it down pre. Queen Deuce for Celowan in the big won't call. Boppity boo. 6-2 suited for Lena. Actually, nobody has a hand this time. Celowan with a jack and a 5 in the small will limp. Ben with 3-6 will check. 9-8-8 flop goes check. Check. Deuce on the turn. Goes check. Check. 7 on the river. Both players block the 5-6 straight. Celowan blocks jack 10 as well. They could go for a bluff. They bet full pot and the bet will get through. Ace 3 suited for Lena will raise Romeo in the big with a queen and an 8. They're going to go for this super small 3-bet once again. Lena will quickly jam and get it on through pre. Ace 9 for Lena. We'll raise it on up. Ace 5 off for Romeo. King Queen suited for Flair Hoove in the big blind. Romeo will go for another super small 3-bet. Flair Hoove will 4-bet. And Romeo quickly folds. Ace 3 for Flair Hoove. Jack 4 suited for Romeo Pro will raise. Flair Hoove might fold. They do. 7-8 will defend the big. Ace 4 flop goes check. Small bet by Romeo. One big blind to go. Backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw for Lena can check raise, sorry, not 3-bet. It would be a 2-bet. But they elect just to fold. Ace 8 for Flair Hoove will raise. Ace Queen for Celowan. Queen 6-5 flop goes check, bet, call, we're off to the turn. Celowan could raise. They actually do go for the raise, make it 4.5 blinds. Flair Hoove with a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw will call, I think. I'm just wrong. Flair Hoove folds. I should have just waited to see what the action was going to bring. We do have an ace king and an ace queen and ace 10 in there. Celowan with a queen and a jack. We see the raise, the all in from Lena. Ben CB will get this in too. Do we call or do we jam? I think we jam. I could be wrong. All in from Ben. A quick fold from Flair Hoove. Any 10 stealer. No 10. We lose Lena in 5th place. We're down to 4 and we're playing 40 blinds deep. Romeo Pros had their foot on the gas the whole final tables in last place with 42 bigs. Everybody's got 93k locked up. 3-2 will raise and take it down pre. Queen 9 for Ben CB will raise. Romeo with a king and a queen of the same suit will 3-bet from the small. Boppity boppity boo. Just kidding, they play call. 9-5-2 flop goes check, bet. Decisions. Romeo without a heart. They got the big heart in them. They will go for the check raise. Ben CB can't fold. They turn the flush. The third nut flush. 15.5 blinds in the middle. Romeo wants them, but they're going to check it on over. 7 on the river. Can you imagine if Romeo jams? No, they're going to land on the check option. Good stuff. Ben CB would have called. Ben bets 3.5 blinds, and Romeo will fold. 3-4 for Romeo. We'll fold the button. Ace 5 for Flair Hoove. Queen Deuce for Celowan in the big. 10-10 3 flop goes check. Check. Deuce on the turn. So Celowan has the pair of 2s, the flush draw, Flare Hoove with a straight draw to the 4, sees a 1 big blind bet, and the ace high will call. 6 on the river goes check check. 8-7 for Romeo. We'll just fold. King 5 for Celowan, we'll limp it on in. Ben CB with the king and the queen, we'll raise it on up. Celowan calls. Ace 7-2 flop goes check. Check 7 on the turn. Ben CB with the nut flush draw on a paired board. Gives Celowan a free river. 8 of spades. Goes check check, and Ben scoops 6.5 blinds. 7-3 suited for Ben in the small, will raise 3.5x. Romeo with a very playable king 10 of spades. We can call, we can 3-bet. Romeo calls. Queen 4-2 flop, so Ben with the straight draw, backdoor straight draw that is. The flush draw on the flop. Doobity doo 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 doo. Flop goes check check, king on the turn. Ben bets quite large, 5.5 blinds into 7.5. Romeo will call, and we'll be off to the river. Jack of diamonds, so the flush draw completes. A few straights get there, but Ben's sitting here with 7 high. Romeo will bet 6 blinds, about a third pot, and the bet will get through. Queen 4 for Ben CB, will raise it on up. Flare Hoove with a king and a queen in the big blind. E6-3 flop goes check, bet, call. Jack on the turn, so Flare Hoove does pick up the straight draw. We'll see if they come along to the river if Ben bets. Don't think it would be a huge bet. 5.5 blinds into 7.5, and that's going to be good enough. Big enough for Ben to take the pot. 5-7 for Flare Hoove, will limp it on in. Celowan in the big with a queen and an 8 of the same suit. We'll check it back. Very playable holding. Says let's go to the flop. King 9-8 goes check check. 4 on the turn. So Flare Hoove does pick up out of straight outs to the 6. We get the Jack of diamond on the river. Doopity doo. Flare Hoove bets 2.6 blinds, about half pot. And Celowan goes for the raise, repping the queen 10 straight, turning their pair of 8s into a bluff, representing 2 pairs sets. All that good news. 9-9 for Flare Hoove, will raise it on up. Face a 3-bet from Celowan with king queen off. Flare Hoove can 4-bet or call. Don't think we fold this pre-flop. 4-handed, 9-9 is a super strong hand. Queen 5-4 flop goes, I don't know. Celowan might slow down, try to keep the pot a little bit smaller. They say let's just go for the small bet. That will accomplish the same thing, plus we get called by flush draws and whatnot. Jack on the turn. If Celowan bets again, I bet they take the pot down. There's still ace-king in the flush draw out there, but Flare Hoove is just in the pickle with this under pair to the queen and the jack. Nice fold by Flare Hoove. 10-10 for Celowan, we'll raise it on up. 6-9 for Romeo in the big blind, very nice holding. Doesn't play super well, 6-9 offsuit. So Romeo finds the fold. 4-4 for Ben CB. King Jack for Romeo. We'll 3-bet from the small. Last time we went for the call, I should have just waited to see what Romeo is going to do. Like, when do we 3-bet, when do we call? It looks like Romeo says, now that I'm like tied for last place, I got to play a little bit more patiently. We can just play call pre-flop, flop a pair of kings. We get down to the river, 8 blinds. We'll slide Romeo Pro's way, providing they don't fold to a bet. They will find the check on the river, 8 blinds in the middle, and Ben will check and give Romeo the pot. King 6 suited for Ben, will raise Romeo with a couple of 5s. We could see a call or a fold. I don't think he 3-bets here. 10 Jack for Celowan in the big, very playable holding. Will come along to the flop. Jack 9-8 goes check, check, check. What does the turn bring us? 6 of clubs. Not too interesting. Romeo does have the little flush draw. Celowan with top pair and the straight draw to the 7 or queen. Will bet. Romeo goes for the raise. 11 blinds to go. Whoa-wee wee-wah. Turning their 5s into a bluff, and they're going to get the pair of jacks to fold. Nice play by Romeo Pro. Putting on a show. King 9 for flare hoof will raise it on up. Ace 8 flops a freaking boat for Ben. Sees a min bet. A little bit more than a min bet. Ben quickly calls. King 9 will check back the 6 of hearts turn. Queen on the river. If Ben bets super small like a blind or two, he might get looked up by the king high. It's very unlikely as the flush completed on the turn. Dibbity-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ben's obviously trying to get paid by flushes and maybe some queen X there. Not king high. Jack 5 for Ben will limp it on in. 6-6 for Romeo. Pro will check it back. Ace 9 4 flop goes check. Romeo bets a blind. Ben quickly calls, picks up the flush draw on the turn. Any heart will do. Ace of hearts, yeah, that will do. The board does pair, but Romeo Pro has 2 pair aces and 6s with the queen kicker. Ben CB with the made flush. Bets 3 blinds, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a hero call here. Romeo Pro does find it. He blocks the flush on the river with the 6 of hearts. Doobity-doo. Ace King for Ben CB will raise it on up. 6-9 for flare hoof will fold the big blind. 6-7 for Romeo on the small. Will fold. Wait, 6-7 on the button. Did I say on the small? Flare hooves in the small blind. With a queen and a 5, Celowan checks back. 10-8 suited, flops the flush draw. Ace 4 flop goes check, bet, fold. Flare hoof could call with the queen high, but they are going to land on the fold option this time. They had backdoor straight draws. Backdoor wheel draw, I suppose. Queen high was good for the time being. Although equity wise, I don't think it was the favorite. It was real close against the 10-8 there. King Jack 2 flop goes bet, fold. Celowan takes a small pot. Poppity pop. King 7 for flare hoof. We'll raise and take it down pre. 5-4 for Romeo. 5-4 for Romeo. We'll raise it on up and take it down pre. Jack 9 for Ben CB. Ace 3 for Romeo Pro. We'll fold. 5-5 for Celowan, and the big will call. Ace 10 6 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Doppity-doppity-doo. 7-5 for flare hoof. We'll see if they open the button off the 27 big blind stack. They say no. Ben will get a walk with king 4. Ace 7 suited for Ben will limp it in. Romeo Pro with the queen jack of the same suit. Can raise or call, or raise or check, sorry. Goes for the raise this time. 10-8 4 flop goes check. What do? We got the straight draw to the 9. 2 overcards, no backdoor flush draw. Romeo Pro bets large 4 blinds into 6.5, and the bet gets through. Then Romeo gets a couple of kings. 3-2 for flare hoof. Sees the 3x raise and take it down pre. Queen for Ben CB. Ace and a queen for Celowan in the big, and ace is being folded from the small. This is bad news for Celowan. They do land on the call option pre-flop. King 5-4 flop goes check, bet, call 4 on the turn. Goes check, king on the river. So Celowan with 2 pairs and the ace kicker might call a bet here. Depends on the size. I think the bigger it is, the more likely it gets called. Ben CB bets 5.5. Celowan calls. No surprises there. King 10 for Romeo Pro. We'll limp it on in. Back to the limping game with a playable holding. Celowan completes the small blind with 8-4 offsuit. Ben CB is 7-2. Queen 9-9 flop goes check, 8 on the turn. So Celowan makes the best of it with a pair of 8s. Although I'm sure he would fold facing any action. Ben is completely dead. Romeo's looking for a king, a 10, a jack, or a queen. We get the jack of spades on the river, so Romeo makes the straight, and again, Celowan isn't paying off a bet here. Romeo will bet 7 blinds and take the pot down. Ace 5 for flare hoof will raise. Ace 7 for Ben folds the small, and Romeo folds the queen high in the big. 5-7 for Romeo in the small. 6-2 for flare hoof in the big. Waiting patiently. We'll see the 3.5x raise, and Flair Hoover will quickly fold. Ace 3 for Ben, 10-8 for Celowan. We'll call 10-9-5 flop. Good news for Celowan, who pretty well has the board locked up. Ben has a backdoor straight draw. Doobity-doo, ace high. We do get the ace of clubs on the turn, so that was very unlikely. Only 2 clean outs for Ben. We get the 3 of hearts on the river. Horrific news for Ben CB with 2 pairs. Celowan makes the flush. They're going to bet 1 big blind. Ben is going to raise. Celowan might jam, and then Ben might call. We're going to see a lot of action here. There's the raise. Celowan just quickly calls. They are going to 3-bet the river, but a nice pot goes their way. Ace Queen for Flair Hoover will raise and take it down pre. Ace 3 for Flair Hoover will raise, face a 3-bet. Nope. Ben CB will call. Romeo will 3-bet the queen. Just kidding. Ben CB does 3-bet 7-7. Romeo's going nowhere. Doobity-doo. Huge sizing by Ben. Romeo jams. Flair Hoover quickly folds, and Ben will fold as well. Doobity-doo. Ace 9 versus 9-9. We'll see this get in pre-flop. 9s will rip. Ace 9 I think calls. I could be wrong though. We're going to find out shortly. Does Flair Hoover pick a smaller non-all-in 3-bet? He says, yeah, let's make it 6 blinds to go. Now the question is, does Ben find a way to get away from the ace 9 offsuit? They find the call. Queen 10-2 flop. Now the question is, does Ben find a way to steal the pot away from 9-9 with no spade? Flair Hoover might bet like 1 blind or something like this. They go for the check. Ben CB checks back the flop, 2 on the turn. Turn goes check. Jack is spades on the river. Excuse me. 9-9 checks on the 4 flush. The river that completes a bunch of straights. Ace King. King 9, 10, nope, 9, 8. Flair Hoover in the tank. Whoa, he's thinking about a call here. This would be quite the impressive play, but Flair Hoover will let this one go. 9-9 with no spade. Ace 9 suited for Ben will raise and take it down pre. Jack deuce for Flair Hoover will just fold. 8-9 for Celowan will limp it on in. 10-7 for Ben CB, checks it back. 9-6-4 flop goes check. 3 of clubs on the turn. Celowan makes the flush, bets a blind, and takes the pot down. King Queen for Flair Hoover will raise. Romeo with a couple of 3s. Do we dunk it in? 4-handed. There's the all-in. And Flair Hoover folds. Ace 6 for Ben CB will raise. King 7 for Flair Hoover in the big will call. Ace King 7. Oh, that's not a 7. Ace King 4 flop goes check, bet, call, and we're off to the turn. Flair Hoover with a 2-pair draw, 3 of a kind draw, backdoor flush draw, backdoor. Nope, that was it. They don't have a backdoor straight draw. We get the deuce of diamonds on the turn. Ben will bet again. 3 blinds into 7.5. Flair Hoover does call once more. Queen on the river goes check, and Ben takes a nice pot. 9-3 gets a walk for Celowan. King 7 for Flair Hoover will rip and get it through pre. 8 deuce for Ben CB. Might go for the raise. They go for the limp. Romeo Pro with an 8 and a 10 in the big. King, queen flop goes check. Check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Celowan with an ace and a 3 will raise and take it down pre. Boopity boo, boopity bee. King and a queen versus a king and a jack. King queen does find the call. Flair Hoover flops the straight. No flush. No, he flops the pair, sorry. Ben CB with the straight draw, and the flush draw doesn't get there. Flair Hoover survives, has a couple of 9s, will face the 3-bet from Celowan. Flair Hoover will rip it all in. Celowan quickly folds. 7 king for Celowan will raise. Romeo Pro with a 6 and a 5 in the big. I think I need some coffee. 7-2 flop. Romeo with the flush draw. Picks up a straight draw on the turn to the 4. Celowan with 3 of a kind. Romeo bets quite large, 3.5 blinds. Celowan in the tank will go for the raise, make it 8.5 or 5 more to call into what would be a 23 big blind pot. Romeo Pro's getting a great price. He's going to jam it all in. Quick call. Whoa, did anybody see that coming? 113 blinds slide Celowan's way. Alrighty, Roo. So we're going to move along. Romeo Pro has 13 blinds. Ben CB with the ace and the queen will raise. Flare Hoof jams ace 3. Oh no, Ben calls. Diamond, 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 diamond. No chop pot either, just a queen on the river. Just like that, we lose Flare Hoof. Romeo Pro is going to rip in the ace king. Holy shit. I guess he can go for a small raise. Nah, they just land on the all in and take it down pre. King 9 versus 5-9. Let's see a raise, all in, and take it down pre again for Romeo. East deuce for Romeo. Might go for the small raise this time. They actually just land on the fold. Celowan with queen 3 will limp it on in. Ben CB will raise up jack 3 and take it down pre. 8-5 for Celowan will fold the button. Queen 7 for Ben will limp it on in. Oh, he jams it. 8-9 for Romeo Pro will fold. Queen 6 for Ben will raise and take it down pre. Boppity boo. Not much doing here. 9-7 for Celowan will limp it in. King deuce for Ben will raise and likely take it down pre. Just kidding. 7-9 finds the call. King 9 4 flop goes check check. 7 on the turn. Celowan overbets 12 blinds into 8.4. Ben CB calls ace on the river. Celowan bets 46 bigs, and I think Ben's going to find the call. He does land on the fold, but holy shit. What a huge bet by Celowan. Queen 6 for Ben CB will limp it on in. 8-7 for Romeo Pro will check it back. Ace Jack 8 flop goes check check. Ace Jack 8 flop goes check check. There we go. 5 on the turn. So Ben with a flush draw to the spade. No straight draw for him. A queen would get the job done as well. 9 of spades on the river, so this is Ben's pot. Got the third nuts. Oh, there's a straight flush draw out there. A few of them, actually. So he might have had like the 5th or 6th nuts. Anyways, Ben bets and takes the pot down. Celowan 3 bets the king deuce. Ace 10 will call. 10-6-2 flop. Bottom pair for Celowan. They're going to bet quite large, 12.8 blinds into 19. Ben CB calls, 7 on the turn. Ben CB's loving life. 44 blinds in the middle will slide their way, providing no king or 2 comes on the river. This might go check check. Celowan might slow down. Ben CB might not be super inclined to rip it in. Maybe we are. Do we ever bet like 5 blinds? Ben CB says, no, that's too silly. Just go all in. You're getting way too tricky. Queen Jack for Celowan, doopity doo, will limp it in. Queen 3 for Ben CB, flops the pair of 3s. Flop goes check check, king on the turn goes check check, ace on the river goes check. Min bet, call, and Ben CB in first place with 85 blinds. Romeo gets a walk with an ace and an 8. And then they get a king and a queen, they'll rip it all in, facing Ben CB's limp. Doopity doo 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 doo. King queen will get it through pre. 8-7-5 flop. That's top set for Celowan. Bottom pair in the straight draw for Ben CB. Looking for a 6 or a 10. We get the 3 of hearts on the river. Celowan will bet large. 5.5 blinds into 7.4. Ben quickly calls. And Celowan takes the pot. And they're back in first place now. Queen Jack for Ben CB will rip it all in. Romeo will fold the 3 and the 10. 9-6 for Romeo, I think folds. Celowan gets a walk. Ace Jack suited for Ben. Celowan in the small with a 7 and a 6 might limp it in. There it is. Ben might raise it up. Boppity boo. Easy to call that. Celowan calls. Ace 4-2 goes check bet. Fold, and we're moving along. I should have known a fold was coming in there. 6-7 suited will rip. Romeo calls with the ace-4. He's going to need an ace or 4 on the river. There we go. Do-ba-dee-do-do-do-do-do. Ace-queen for Ben. We'll raise it on up. 7-5 for Romeo. We'll just fold Celowan with an 8 and a 5 in the big. We'll call. Jack 4 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. 5-4 for Romeo Pro. We'll fold. Ben gets a walk with the 8-5 suited. Ace-3 for Celowan. King-8 suited for Ben. King-8 for Romeo in the big. We'll see a raise, a 3-bet, and a fold, and a fold. Nope, we get a raise, a fold, and a call from the big. Right? There's a call from the big. Queen, Jack 2 flop goes check, bet. Romeo backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. What do we do? Raise? Raise or fold? Romeo says fold. Ace-7 for Ben CB. We'll raise it on up. 9-8 will defend the big. King 10-7 flop goes check, check, 7 on the turn. Celowan with the open-ended straight draw looking for a jack or a 6. Ben CB bets the 2 pairs and takes the pot down. 8-7 for Romeo. We'll raise and take it down pre, it looks like. Oh, 8-7 suited on the button. 16 blinds deep. Just folds. Interesting stuff. Queen 10, 2 flop goes check, check. 5 on the turn. Celowan looking for a 4 or for the bet to get through. The jack of clubs on the river. 7 blinds in the middle will slide Ben's way, providing they don't fold. Very scary river. They might fold the 10-4 off. They do face a huge overbet, 12.5 blinds into 7.5. And the bet will get through. Queen 10 for Romeo. Queen 7 for Celowan. We see a limp and a check. This is taking forever. The check does come in. Jack 4 3 flop goes check. Check. Ace on the turn. Romeo with the straight draw to the king could always bet. Protect your hand. Your queen high is probably best here. Romeo says, yeah, I'll just go for the check call option. Ace on the river. Diamonds complete. Both players with a diamond. Are we chopping the pot? We're chopping the... Nope, Romeo plays the 10, my bad. I thought it was aces. Oh, we're missing a queen. If there's a queen on the flop. Or another jack out there. Anyways, Romeo takes a small pot. 10-9-3 flop goes check, check. 10 of diamonds on the turn completes the flush for Celowan. Ben CB with the bottom pair of 3s will bet 1.5 blinds, face the check raise on the turn, and hate life. So they fold. Jack 4 for Ben. We'll limp it on in. Queen 7 for Romeo. I'll check it back. Ace 5 4 flop goes check. Romeo with the backdoor straight draw. We'll check it back. 3 on the turn. This is a one-liner to a deuce. 2 flush draws out there. 6-7 is the nuts. Romeo finds the queen on spades on the river, so they'll get the 2.4 in the middle, plus an extra big blind from Ben CB on the river. Queen 4 for Romeo will just fold. Celowan gets a walk with the 6 and the 2. Ace King for Romeo Pro. We'll raise and take it down pre. King 7 for Celowan. We got a 9 and a 7 for Romeo. They're just gonna fold. 7 Jack for Rome. We'll limp it in. Celowan with a king and a 3. Jack 8 5 flop goes bet fold. Nope, goes check check. 10 on the turn. So Celowan looking for a king and only a king. Romeo bets 1.5 blinds into 2.4 and the bet gets through. King 6 for Romeo. We'll raise and take it down pre. Do-ba-dee-do-do-do-do-do. Ace Queen for Celowan. We'll raise. Romeo with 10-7 goes for the 3-bet. Bad timing. We'd love to see it. Just poor timing. As Celowan will jam and get the jam through. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. 6-10 for Rome. We're suited and booted. We might go for the limp. There it is. 4-2 for Celowan. Checks it back. 10-9 4 flop goes bet call. 9 on the turn. Goes Check, check. No, Celowan bets 2 blinds. Interesting stuff. Gonna go for a little protection bet. Get called by ace highs, queen, jack, jack 8, 8, 7, that sort of bullshit. Celowan sees a 6 on the river, checks it back as he's still beating some of the ace highs and straight draws out there. In the end, Romeo will take the pot down. Ace 9 versus ace 8 suited. About a 20 big blind jam here. Rome might find the call. They do find it with 34%. We got lots of chop opportunities. The board runs out of straight, so we do chop it up. 8-7 for Ben. 9-7 for Rome. Do 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 do. Limp pop a hot. 10-6 5 flop goes check check, and we're off to the turn. Nope. Romeo will bet 1.5 blinds into 2.4. Ben does call with the open-ended straight draw. Romeo picks up some straight outs. Right? No, we already had the straight out to the 8. My bad. They're going to bet 3.5 blinds on the turn as the flush completes. So Ben will fold the straight draw. Boppity boo. 8-5 for Romeo Pro. We'll do something from the small blind here. It's suited and booted. They go for the 3x raise. Celowan with a queen and a 3 won't do much. They just fold. Queen. Nope, that's a jack and a 3 for Romeo. There's no queen out there. Jack 3 folds. 9-8 for Celowan will limp it in. Ben CB with a 10 and a 2 will check it back. Flop a pair of 10s. Jack Jack 10 flop goes bet, call, ace on the turn. Celowan might fire away again. They bet real small, 1.4 blinds. Ben calls, of course. We get a 6 on the river. Celowan will give up the bluff. Ben checks it down and sees the great news. 7-6 for Ben will limp it in. Romeo with a 10 and a 7. Boppity boo. We'll check it back. 6-3 2 flop goes. Bet, call. Check back call, that is. 8 on the turn. So Romeo has a straight draw to the 9. Goes for the overbet. Get the jack of hearts on the river. 16 blinds will slide Ben's way providing they don't fold. I don't know if Romeo bluffs. He doesn't want to have the 10 of spades in his hand. But the 7 of clubs, no, we don't want to have that one either. So Romeo just folds. Ben CB will take a pot with a pair of 10s. Ace queen for Romeo. Right? A pair of 10s? What the hell did Ben have? My brain just totally skipped out on reality there for a second. Anyways, we're back. King 9 for Celowan. Flopping the toppest of pairs with the second best kicker. Ace queen will check it on over with the backdoor flush draw. Celowan will bet 1.7 blinds into 5.4. Romeo will come along to the turn. Deuce of diamonds. Not what Rome's looking for. Celowan bets 3 bigs. Rome will come along to the river, I think, as the deuce is a complete brick. So he's ahead of all the straight draws. He's ahead of the flush draw. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Romeo finds the fold. Nicely done. Good timing, as Celowan had the best of it with King 9. 9 deuce will limp it in. Ben CB will check back the 3 and the 10. Ace 7-6 flop goes bet fold. King 9 versus ace queen. We'll see a raise, potentially a jam. Rome could also call. Doopity doo 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 doo. They land on the call option. Jack 7-4 flop goes check. Check. Rome could also bet real small. They land on the check option. 3 of hearts on the turn goes check. I think we're just checking this one down. Both players, that is. 5 on the river goes check check. Yep. And Ben will take it with the ace high. 8-8 for Celowan, get no walk. King 2 for Celowan, ace jack for Ben CB. We get a limp, a raise, a call. King 10-3 flop goes check. Bet, call, we're off to the turn. Ben looking for an ace or a queen. We get the 4 of spades. 10 of spades on the river. Celowan will get the 12 blinds in the middle. Goes for another 8.3 on top of it. Ben still ahead of king queen. No, not king queen, sorry. Queen jack. Jack 9. So some straight draws is what I'm trying to say, is Ben calls down with the ace jack. No surprises there. King 2 will rip it all in, and Romeo Pro folds to 7-4. Ace 4 for Rome will rip it in. Celowan has so many chips, they do find the call with the king and the 3 with about 30%. Ace, no, they need a king or a 3, sorry. Ace high for Romeo is good. 8-6 for Celowan, 9-5 for Ben CB. Ace king queen flop goes. Huge bet, over bet by Celowan. 9 blinds, Ben CB finds the call. We don't both make a pair of 9s. Ben CB makes a pair of 9s, has the flush draw. No outs for Celowan on the river here. They bet 17 more blinds. Ben calls 4 diamonds on the river. Celowan deep in the tank will rip it all in, and Ben might be down to 30 bigs as he might find the fold here as his flush draw missed. He just has a pair of 9s. Oh no, he does find the fold. Huge play by Celowan to scoop the 60 big blind pot. Doobity-doo. King 8 for Ben CB will limp it in. Romeo with a 9 and a 4. So Ben's down to 30 bigs. Celowan has the commanding chip lead with 122 blinds. 9-4 flops, 3 4s. Ben CB with not much doing. Backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. Makes a pair of kings. This is horrific news. So Ben might just double up Romeo Pro. Rome will bet another 3.5 blinds. 7 of spades on the river. Stack to pot ratio right around 1-1. Rome will jam. And then I think Ben calls. Oh, I'm wrong about Rome's size. He goes for the 5 big blind bet to make sure he gets called by the king X, and it does happen. Ace 6 versus ace king versus ace 6. Ben will raise. Romeo will jam. Celowan will fold. No, Rome goes for the non-all-in 3 bet. Rome. We'll see if he gets Ben CB to rip it in. No, but Ben does go for the 4 bet. Rome will jam. And Ben will fold, and they're down to 8.5 blinds. They have king 7 off. Facing the jam, they quickly call with 60%, but a 4 on the flop. No 7 for Ben, no chop outs, no nothing. Just like that, Ben's gone in 3rd place. Very unlucky. Ace 3 for Celowan. And I mean, what a nice play by Celowan with that 6-8. That's probably the pot of the tournament. Yeah, Celowan takes the commanding lead off Ben CB after that one right there. Rome flops 3 of a kind. Ben makes a top pair of kings on the turn. Nothing you can really do about that. Romeo gave you a fair price. You have to pay off the bet. And then again, Ben CB gets it in as the favorite with about 66%. And Celowan gets a little lucky. Speaking of a little lucky, Romeo Pro makes the straight on the turn here, smacking, oh no, and a 3 on the river. Rome's going to get a full double. He's just going to jam it in. Celowan will have a snap call. Do what he do. So I guess Romeo Pro's right back in the game. Queen, queen versus king 2. 64 blinds to 76. Romeo will raise. Celowan might 3-bet. They just land on the call. Queen jack 6 flop goes check, bet, fold, and we're moving along. Not too much doing here. Rome bets real small. Celowan with 3 in a row will still find the fold. 9-7 suited versus 8-4 off. Get a raise. And a fold. 3-10 for Romeo. We'll limp it on in. King 9 for Celowan. We'll check it back. 8-6-2 flop goes check. Romeo bets over the pot 3 blinds into 2.3, and the bet will get through. Ace jack for Celowan. We'll raise it on up and take it down pre. 9-4 for Romeo. Limps it in. Celowan with a jack and a 5. 9-7-3 flop goes check, bet, fold, and oh, it goes check, check, 4 on the turn. So Celowan has the straight draw to the 6, Romeo Pro with 2 pairs. Get the 10 of diamonds on the river. Celowan blocks 5-6, jack, 8. What happens here? Celowan bets quite large, Romeo Pro with 2 pairs. We could raise, right? And there's still the straights that get there. 24 blinds for Romeo Pro is the bet, and the bet will get through. So Romeo Pro's in first place after Celowan had 120 blinds. Romeo had like, what, 28 or something, and Ben had like 8. So just like that, Romeo Pro's back in the lead, has the pair of 4s here with the straight draw to the 6, Celowan with the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, 2 overcards. They're in position. They're going to get to choose if they want a free turn Or will they charge Romeo Pro? They're going to charge Romeo Pro. 12.5 blinds to go. King of spades on the turn. What the hell happens here? This Celowan checks it back. 3 on the river. So 1 liner to a 6. The flush completes on the turn. Romeo Pro has 2 pairs. Celowan with a flush blocker. I don't think we're going to turn our hand into a bluff, but it could work if we jam. We'll see if the 2 pair is going to face the heat or not. Celowan deep in the tank here. They aren't calling. There's the jam, no surprises, and now Romeo Pro is going to go deep in the tank. Is the tournament over? Is this the hand? Is Romeo Pro just going to get 2 pairs? The bottom 2 pairs? He finds the call, and just like that, the tournament's over. I don't even know what to say. What a play by Romeo Pro. After Celowan got a huge bluff through earlier against Ben CB, this time not going to work out for them. But with that being said, throughout the whole final table, Celowan's been rather tight, rather snug. And then here in the final 3, they put their foot on the gas. Romeo Pro, who's been super aggressive throughout the whole final table, gets 2 pairs, and that's good enough to call down with. Well, while Romeo Pro gets the job done. Well deserved. Kind of was their final table to win. In the end, they do get the job done. Nicely done, Romeo Pro. Very fun match to watch. Got to learn lots. But I suppose that is the end of the show. So if you made it all the way through, thanks for checking this bullshit out. Hopefully we'll see you in another one. Until then, adios amigos.